This conference will now be recorded.
In previous class, we talked about customer normal payment and customer partial customer residual payment, customer on account payment. So we need to do partial payment, residual payment, on account payment. We only did normal payment, is it? Or did we do already these two? Did we
We have
post
done
partial res?
partial, we are not done.
Okay. FBL 51. Okay, let me create one partial payment. I'll take invoice number 1 against 10,000. Let me create the partial payment for, let's say, something around 3,000 rupees. I'll take, okay, let me put our this one against 10,000. Let us create the partial payment of 3,000 and then we will verify how we will track this partial payment from this customer invoice. For creating the partial payment, same screen as usual, F-28, customer incoming payment. Today's date, I'll say part payment 1. Bank account. For this, you need to make sure that you are going to use the incoming bank GL account. For vendor account, we were using outgoing GL account. For customer, you must use incoming, because from customer you are receiving the payment. Any payment received into your bank account must be used in the bank incoming GL accounts. If it is check, check incoming. If it is transfer, transfer incoming. 3,000 is what we're talking about. I'll put part payment 1. For partial payment, since you are going to take the partial payment against an invoice, system will bring the profit center from the document splitting. You do not have to input profit center for any partial payment. This will be customer account. This is the customer account. Input this, not copied. Copy and click on process open item. It is telling document number range is missing. Number range is 14. Let us update this number range. FBN1 DEIN 14 2023 14 all zeros and 14 all lines. These are the invoices that we're able to see once we go inside the customer account. We were planning to create the partial payment against invoice number 10,000 for 3,000. What we do, we go to partial payment tab on the top, unselect everything. Currently it is selecting everything and it is asking you to input amount against all the invoices, against all outstanding transactions. But our intention is to make the partial payment against invoice number, this one, for 10,000. See, select everything and make sure you deactivate all the transactions, for which first you need to look at the amount assigned column. If you see the amount assigned column, it is showing 27,000, which means it has selected all the transactions. That is why all the amounts you are able to see in blue highlight. Anything which is highlighted in blue color represents this transaction is selected for payment. To deselect, option number 1, you can double click on individual transaction so that will get deactivated, or down below you click on the third icon, select all, and from the same line from the right hand side you click on third icon, which is deactivate items. If you click on deactivate items, select all, deactivate items. Now you select the invoice against which you want to initiate the payment. We want to initiate payments against this invoice number. Just double click on that amount alone. It will open the screen. As we discussed, for the partial payment you need to input the payment amount, not the balance amount. Whatever the amount that you are trying to pay, only that payment amount you need to input against payment amount for partial payment. We have given 3000 as payment amount. Input the same amount in the partial payment column, 3000. Press enter. Make sure amount assigned, amount entered are equal. There are no differences in the not assigned. Once you see amount entered and assigned are equaling, just go to document, click on simulate. If you simulate, this is what is coming. Your bank incoming account is debited, customer account is credited. Let us perform the simulate general ledger to check the splitting functionality. It has split the profit center in both the line items. Let us verify how did system got this profit center. Click on expert mode. So it is taking split according to base rows, inheritance via invoice reference. Your customer account has received a profit center from this invoice number, and bank GL account has received a profit center from line item number 2. So this is called as your passive document splitting. Customer account is receiving profit center from the invoice, and bank account is receiving profit center from customer account. Close this. Just go back. Click on post. Now the entry has been posted. Once the entry is posted, let us make sure we will pull the report and we will verify how this 3000 is represented. Now out of 20,000, 27,000, currently we made payment of 3,000. From 27, if you make the payment of 3,000, your outstanding should come down to 24,000. Let us verify how much this customer outstanding will show now. It is showing 24,000, and if you look at the partial payment document, which is 14 all zeros for 3,000, this document number is having the invoice reference number of 18 all zeros 2. If you filter on 18 all zeros 2 here, let me copy 18 all zeros 2, and if I put a filter in the invoice reference number with 18 all zeros 2, I am able to see 3 transactions here. First one is your invoice transaction for 10,000. Against this invoice, you have one credit memo for 1,000. Out of 10,000, if credit memo is there for 1,000, your outstanding will come down to 9,000. Against the same invoice, there is a part payment of 3,000. Now from 9,000, if you deduct 3,000 partial payment, your outstanding will be 6,000. If you look at invoice reference, if you put the original invoice number, you are able to see against this invoice reference number, your current outstanding is only 6,000. because out of 10, 1000 is received as a return, 3000 is received as part payment. Clear? Now all these kind of different scenarios within payment, you need to make sure you're not getting confused, you're able to understand, you're able to see what is the actual outstanding. This is very important. This is how you will be using, you will be making the payments, you will be working with your users. They might make payments in different ways. You need to ensure that you are able to track the payment information, payment history from the backend. Because on the various reports related to customer account, you need to ensure correct amounts are always represented. To check the same information from the table level, the way we checked for the vendor payment information from table, similarly we need to check the customer payment information from table. Let's go to SE16N. Let's put BSID. If I put BSID, this is what you are getting, secondary index for customers generated. Company code is DAIN, customer account. Let's take this customer account, copy, and I'll put this customer account here. It's not copied. This is the customer account. Next one, we were talking about invoice reference. Here is your invoice reference column. In the invoice reference, we need to put the original invoice number. Let me take 18 all zeros 2, copy. In the invoice reference, let me put this original invoice number and I'll click on execute. If you click on execute, this is what you are getting. But are we getting the original invoice number?
No, sir.
You're not getting the original invoice number, you're only getting the payment related information. If you go right side, this is your invoice reference. So which means this will become your invoice number, this will become your original payment related information. First one is your 14 series, this document type is DZ. DZ represents your customer payment. Against DZ document you have 3000. This 3000 is represented as part payment received against this invoice. Second document number that you have is 16 series. This 16 series is document type DG. This DG represents the customer credit memo. By looking at this, you will understand against this invoice there is one part payment, there is one credit memo, which means out of whatever the invoice amount that you have received so far. If I do a total, 4000 is what received so far against this invoice. Now, if I make the payment of another part payment against the same invoice, let's say let me pay another 2000 rupees for this. Let us verify what system will show in the table. Let me make another 2000, another part payment for 2000 rupees. Part payment to same bank account. Let's take 2000. Same thing, select all, deactivate items, go to partial payment tab. So our invoice is this 18 all zeros 2. Against this invoice, put your payment amount of 2000. Make sure amount entered, amount assigned are equal. You can proceed to simulate, verify the profit center. Profit center is updated. You can go back, simulate, and then post. Now this entry is also posted. If you refresh this screen, current amount is 4000. According to us, we have paid 6000 in it. 5000 towards partial payment, 1000 towards a credit memo. Let me click on refresh this table. Now it has become 3000, 2000, 1000, overall 6000. If I do a total for this, it is showing 6000 rupees as payment amount. Next one, let me settle this invoice completely. Currently on this invoice, out of 10,000, if 6,000 is paid, let me refresh this. Let me put filter for 18 all zeros 2. The current outstanding on this invoice is only 4,000. Let me make this 4,000 payment and clear this invoice from the open or outstanding list. For that, what I am going to do, I am going to go inside the same screen. I will clear this invoice from the same screen. Let me go to F-28, post incoming payments. I'll take today's date. I'll write final payment. Bank account 4000 is the outstanding. Same customer account, enter. Whenever you are making the final payment, if you want to clear the invoice along with the existing transactions, you need to make sure first you select all, deactivate all the line items, select your invoice number first. Once you select invoice number, you need to select the other partial payments that are associated with this invoice plus any credit memos that are associated with this invoice. Against this invoice, you made two partial payments, one for 3000, one for 2000. You need to include this 3000. You need to include this 2000 also. Accordingly, system will keep on updating your amount. Now, next one, there is a credit memo of 1000. If you take the credit memo of 1000, two partial payments of 3000, 2000, and original invoice 10,000. You see amount assigned has become 4000. Now I think I did a typo. Amount entered has become 40,000. Let me go to overview once. Whenever you feel anything you put incorrectly, just go to overview. Double click on this bank line item. Make it 4000. And then straight away click on process open item. You will get this. Now you are able to see amount entered is 4000, amount assigned is also 4000. It is matching. Once this is matching, go to document, click on simulate. Here make sure the amount is properly matching. Let me click on simulate general ledger. This is taking only two line items. Bank account is debited with 4000, customer account is credited with 4000. Let's go back. Let us simulate and let me post this entry. Now the entry is posted. Once this entry is posted, if I refresh the transaction, for the vendor customer line item report, this invoice number 18 all zeros 2 should no longer be outstanding. List, refresh. It is refreshed, but the invoice which was there for 18 all zeros 2 for 10,000 disappeared. All the partial payments, credit memos that are connected with that invoice also disappeared because you have cleared the invoice along with the existing part payments and then credit memo in the final payment. If you see, these things have disappeared from your customer line item report. Now let us verify whether this invoice is still appearing on your table with the same payment history breakup. Let me come to BSID table. I'll click on refresh here. If I click on refresh, nothing is coming here. Right, so far it was giving you the payment information against your invoice, but now it started becoming zero, which means it is not displaying anything from the BSID table for your part payment information or your payment history. This is because BSID table stores only the open item related information. Currently, your invoice is no longer open. We have cleared the invoice, which means the data from BSID table will be transferred to BSAD table the moment the invoice is cleared. What we need to do, if you are unable to find invoice related information in BSID, that means the invoice is no longer open, is no longer outstanding. Just go back. Copy this invoice number, open BSAD. If you go to BSAD, BSAD will display the information related to cleared transactions of a customer. According to us, invoice number 18 all zeros 2 is already cleared. Now you want to identify how this invoice was cleared. What are the payments made against this? Same thing, go to invoice reference, pass your invoice number, click on execute in BSAD table. In BSAD table, you will find the information like this. In BSAD, you will find the information like this. If you see this, you are able to see the three documents are appearing here. If I select these three payment related information, it is showing only 6,000, but our invoice amount is 10,000. According to the system, invoice amount has become zero already. According to the system, invoice amount has become zero, but if you see this here, it is giving you only 6,000. But whereas according to us, our invoice amount is 10,000, but in the system, it is giving you the payment amount as 6,000. Let us verify, because this amount which is appearing on the screen of 6,000 is not clear. Your invoice amount is 10,000, but you are able to see customer account is received with or is credited with only 6,000. Now there is a mismatch of 4,000. Correct? Why there is a mismatch of 4,000? Why is it not matching? Now to understand that, let us go to customer line item report. Let me select cleared items now, because invoice is already cleared. Let me pick cleared items, execute. Let me pick our layout. If you check here, If you check here, what system is showing, whenever you made any payment for partial or whenever you made any payment by credit memo, in short for your credit memos and for your partial payment, invoice reference column is updated with the invoice number. For your credit memos and for your part payments, invoice reference column is updated with invoice number. But when you make final payment, when you make the final payment, system did not update any invoice reference number here. Correct? When you make final payment, system did not update any invoice reference. It has updated the payment document number as invoice reference number. That is the reason you are not able to see the third payment or the third installment, third outstanding as your part payment breakup. Now, is this correct? If I am using partial payment, if I use the last payment as not partial payment, as a direct clearing entry, can we track the payment history properly from the backend? It is not showing properly because the last amount, the last payment that you have made has not updated anything as invoice number in the invoice reference column, because you have selected multiple transactions. You have selected invoice number, you have selected credit memos, you have selected part payments. System will not understand that this is against a part payment. Point number one is that. Point number two, you did not go inside the partial payment tab while making the payment. While making the payment, what we did, we instead of going into partial payment, we went inside the standard items and then we cleared it. Now the same transaction I will reset and then reverse to bring it open, outstanding. Assuming that this entry is posted incorrectly by a user. They said that this entry is posted incorrectly because when we pull the report, against this invoice number, system is showing us payment received as only 6,000, whereas the invoice is already outstanding. Because in your report, you may be fetching the data from BSAD table. From this table, whatever the data is appearing, in the similar way, we must be representing in our reports. If your table shows 6,000, your report also will represent 6,000, which is wrong. Now, after identifying, or they might give you a support ticket for these kind of things. Invoice number this, payment is already received, it is completely cleared. But when we go to payment history report, system is displaying only 6,000 instead of 10,000. Now what you need to do, you need to analyze these kind of scenarios. You need to go verify the documents, verify the reports, go to the table, verify the data, and then come to a conclusion and then decide based on what system is giving 6,000 instead of 10,000. According to us, invoice amount is 10,000, 10,000 is paid. Now you want to track, you want to trace how this 10,000 was paid. That information you are unable to track from this table because the last portion, which is 4,000, is missing. If 4,000 is missing in the customer reports, when your client is verifying, they will find a mismatch of 4,000. Now for this mismatch, they will issue a support ticket or they will raise a support incident, for which you may have to work and then convince why it is giving only 6,000 instead of 10,000. You came to know that how the invoice was posted and how the credit memos, how partial payments and how final payments were posted. After verifying everything, you came to know that the last payment that was posted has not been updated as partial payment, because I have not posted last one as partial payment. Last one I have paid from the standard payment tab itself. That is why it has not updated anything. Now I have to give a solution to the client. Which will ensure that the amount in the payment received will show as 10,000 here. 4,000 to be included here, and if you put a filter against invoice reference, you are able to see 10,000 here. Currently, if I put a filter against 18 all zeros 2, which is your invoice number, you are able to see only 6,000. Let's go to the report. In this report, if you check currently, let me put a filter for invoice reference. Invoice reference is having a balance of 4,000. There is no invoice reference against this 4,000 rupees. That is why even in your table, it is still showing 4,000 is outstanding, whereas this 4,000 is already paid. Now what I have decided that I will cancel this. I will post the entry properly, for which you have to respond, you have to reply to the email that you received from your client for this issue. You have to tell, we have analyzed the problem and then found that the last payment document, which is 14 all zeros 2, is not posted as part payment. Now to update the payment related information properly, please perform the below activities. Then you put step number 1, reset and reverse this clearing document. Step number 1, you have to tell reset and reverse this last payment document number, which is 14 all zeros 2, for which you will have to inform your client to go to reset transactions. What is the T code for resetting a transaction? It will be FBRA. Let's put FBRA transaction. Go inside document number 14 all zeros 2. This entry is posted in fiscal year 2023. Just press enter. Click on accounts, and this will show you the accounts that are involved in this clearing document. Because you can post a clearing document in one account, you can post a clearing document between multiple accounts. I can clear with multiple vendors. I can clear this vendor account with GL accounts. I can clear this vendor account with customer account with vendor account also. There may be multiple accounts involved in a clearing document. You need to always ensure how many accounts are involved in this clearing document. There is only one customer involved in this clearing. That is why one customer account is displayed. Next one, check items. How many line items are involved in this clearing transaction? These are the line items that are involved in your clearing transaction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 transactions. When you perform this reset and reverse, it will reset the connection between invoice and then the payment. The payment will become open. All the other transactions will become open. This is what is going to happen when you click on reset. If you reset, the link between invoice and payment will be disabled. Everything will become open. If you click on reset and reverse, the link will become open and the payment document will get reversed. If I click on reset alone, all the transactions will become open. If I click on reset and reverse, all the transactions will get opened and this last transaction, which is DZ for 4,000, will get reversed. Now we need to click on reset and reverse. For that, click on save icon or post icon on the top. If you click on reset cleared items, you will get a pop-up. If you click on reset only, it will only reset. The connection between your invoice and payment will be disabled. The 4,000 payment will appear as open. The remaining items also will appear as open. But if you click on reset and reverse, everything will become open and the last payment document, which means this 14 all zeros 2, will be reversed. According to our situation, we need to reverse it because this 4,000 is posted incorrectly. Let me click on reset and reverse. Reversal reason is 01 because we are reversing it in the same period in which the original entry was posted. Reason 01, click on continue. Clearing 1402 is reset. This is the entry number for resetting. Next one, 16 all zeros 2 was posted in company code. This is the reversal entry. First one is the reset, second one is reverse because we have selected reset and reverse. Now after this, if we go to the customer item screen, if I try to refresh the list, currently we are on cleared items. It should be nothing in the cleared item. Now cleared item, it is giving you only the cancelled transactions. This is your final payment and this is the reversal of a final payment. If you go back, if you select open transactions now, you will find the original invoice references as usual. Let me select our layout. I'll put invoice reference, our invoice number 18 all zeros 2. 4,000 is the outstanding. Now our intention is to make sure you will clear this invoice, but in your partial payment table you are able to find the information properly. Your part payment must represent 10,000 either from the table level or from the report level, for which let me go to post incoming payment once again. Let us pass the entry again from the beginning. Document date, I'll say part payment 3. Bank account, the outstanding is 4,000. Part payment number 3, this is your customer account. Enter. Previously what we did, we were posting from standard transaction. If you post the entry from standard transaction, that is not treated as a part payment. As a result, the invoice number is not updated in your invoice reference column. To make this as a partial payment, what we need to do, you go to partial payment tab. Select all here. Click on deactivate. Double click on your invoice. Put payment amount as 4,000. Put payment amount as 4,000. If you want, from here let us select the remaining items. 2,000 here, this here, and the credit memo of 1,000. Now here what I am doing, here I am trying to clear the invoice from partial payment tab. Here also I am selecting the same thing. I am selecting the invoice, I am applying 4,000 part payment. Along with this, I am also selecting the other part payments of it. The previously paid items also I am selecting, so that it will clear it. Let us verify after doing this whether the invoice will get cleared or not. Let me click on simulate. If I click on simulate, it is telling difference is too large for clearing. Why it is telling difference is too large for clearing? Because it has started counting this amount. It has started counting this amount, which is the reason it is telling there is no difference. Sorry, there is a difference which is too large for clearing. Amount entered, it is showing 4,000, but amount assigned, it is showing 2,000, and not assigned, it is showing 6,000, because it is taking 10,000. We have selected all other transactions which we are not supposed to do. In this case, what you need to do, you need to deselect all other transactions and keep only the invoice related transaction and put the payment amount. This is what you need to do for part payments. For all the part payments, make sure you select complete payment, or you process the full payment in all installments using partial payment function only. Now click on simulate. Okay, now the entry has been posted. Once the entry is posted, let us go to cleared items. If you go to cleared items, there is nothing, because it was posted as part payment. Since it was posted as part payment, you are not able to see the outstanding. If I go back, I will select open items only. Let me put our layout. And select invoice reference, your original invoice number 18 all zeros 2. Now you can see amount outstanding on this invoice reference is 0. which means the system is able to show all the items from this invoice are cleared. Currently the net outstanding on this invoice number is 0. Same thing, let us verify from the table now. We are on BSAD table. BSAD table is for cleared items. Currently the invoice is fully paid, but it is still showing as outstanding, or it is still appearing on open items list in the customer account. Now BSAD is not open item list, BSAD is cleared item list. If I do a refresh here, let us verify if data displays or not. Now the data is disappearing from this table BSAD because invoice is completely paid but it is not cleared. Against invoice there are all partial payments but clearing is not happened. Now for clearing, what you need to do, you need to pass one more entry tagging all your open items into one clearing entry and then parser JV, which means you need to perform customer clearing entry. But before that, let us verify the data from BSID. BSID. From BSID, same thing, put your company code, customer account, and then invoice reference. Let me put this invoice reference 18 all zeros 2. If I run this, let us verify the total for this payment. Now if you see, you are able to identify the payment amount appearing as 10,000. You know the invoice that you are referring to is 10,000. Now the payment breakup for your invoice is also 10,000. If this is not appearing, your reports will be wrong. Whatever the data you show in your report, especially for the partial payment, will be represented wrong, because previously what happened, this 4,000 was not appearing because you did not put that as part payment. If you put the amount as part payment, make sure you completely record all the payments using partial payment method only. Otherwise, you will find inconsistencies in the transaction. When you go back to trace the payment history, you will see that last portion is missing. Now to perform the clearing entry, what we need to do, you need to go to a transaction called clear customer /n F-32. If you go to F-32, you will find clear customer. Here you input your customer number. This is your customer number. Select the clearing date as current date, and here you need to input based on what you want to clear the customer. You have something called none, which will display everything: amount, document number, date, reference, payment order, collective invoice, document type, all these things. But you need to find out a unique field which will bring all the collective invoices together. For that, you don't have any other information. The only one field that we are able to see common in this is your invoice reference. In the invoice reference, all the transactions are having same value. If I put 18 all zeros 2, system will bring all these items which will sum to 0. But do you find that invoice reference option here? You don't find it. When you don't find it, click on others and press enter. When you click on others and press enter, you will find the remaining fields on which you can perform clearing. But this is what it is showing. But in this, you don't find the field wherein you can select invoice reference. Billing document, document type and all coming, but you don't find something called invoice reference. If invoice reference is not there, you cannot perform this clearing based on single value. What you need to do, you need to select document number and input the document numbers, or you select none. Since we have less transactions, you select none. If there are multiple transactions, you need to select document number, enter inside. Here it will ask you to input document numbers. Go to the customer report, do a Ctrl Y, Select all these document numbers. Copy these document numbers. Go to the clear customer and pass the document numbers here. After giving the document numbers, click on process open item. It will bring all the transactions whatever you have given. Only those document numbers will be displayed here. If you check this, all the items have been selected. By default, they are appearing in blue color. Amount entered is 0. Amount assigned is 0. In short, this is a clearing entry. Clearing entries are majoritarily zero posting. Zero posting means debit credit is already there, but you are just matching the entry. Once you put this, go to document. Simulate general ledger. Profit center is updated. Just go back. Simulate again and then post. Now the entry has been posted. If you verify the table immediately, currently we are on a table BSID. BSID table is used for customer open transactions, but after the recent transaction, this transaction is no longer open. Previous entry what we posted was clearing entry. With that clearing entry, the invoice is become cleared now. If I click on refresh, there should be no data in this BSID table. Let us refresh. If you refresh, data disappeared from BSID table, which means the invoice, whatever you are trying to refer, is no longer open. Copy this document number. If it is cleared, you will have to access BSAD table. Go to BSAD table, pass your company code, select the customer account, and find out invoice reference field. Search invoice reference field. In the invoice reference, you pass the invoice number. Click on execute. We are currently on cleared item transaction. If you go to BSAD table, let us verify if you get the data or not. Now if you go to BSAD, the data is appearing here. If the invoice is outstanding, you will get the data in BSID table. If the invoice is cleared, you will get the data in BSAD table. If I select the amount, if I click on total, you will find the payment breakup as 10,000. Your invoice value is 10,000, your payment value is also 10,000. This is how you will be tracking your part payment information from the table. Clear? Any doubt on this? Now these points are very important because on these areas majorly you will be working when you are in a project. This is how your users will pass the entries, your client will record the transactions. Wherever they get confusions and all, they will approach you. You cannot say that I am also not clear how to read this entry. And in return, you cannot ask the user how did you pass this entry. You are supposed to know these things. Any questions on this?
Sir, can you once repeat the only resetting and reversed points for a second?
This is another clearing document. Once you put clearing document, you need to first select the accounts included in the clearing, because you can pass the clearing entry within one account like this, You can pass the clearing entry between multiple accounts. You can pass a clearing entry between customer to customer, customer to vendor, customer to GL, customer vendor GL together also. You can settle the transactions from customer vendor GL all together or all separately. To make sure that the clearing entry is involved in what kind of accounts or how many accounts, first click on accounts here. You will get the list of accounts that are involved in the clearing. Second point, click on items here. If you click on items, this will give you the line items that are involved in this clearing. These are the line items that are involved in this clearing. If you see this, now point number one that you have to remember when you perform reset and reversing. If you want to perform reset alone, what system will do? Nothing will be reversed if you click on reset. What system will do? It will only reset the status. Now currently all the transactions are appearing as cleared. Why we are telling these are cleared? Because you are able to see the status as green light, which is cleared. Correct? Huh? If I select only the reset option, everything will appear open in the customer account. Nothing will be reversed. Only the status from green, it will become red. That is what is going to happen if you click on reset alone. Everything will remain as it is with the clearing status becoming open status. On the other side, if you click on reset and reverse, if you click on reset and reverse, it will make everything as red, which is open, along with the clearing document. This is 45. 45 is your clearing document. From the document list, wherever you have 45, if you see, these two are 45 document line items. This document will be reversed. And apart from this document, whatever the lines that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will become open again.
Got it, sir. Means for reset, it is used for incorrect. If someone has incorrectly cleared some items, so maybe that
Right.
purpose reset should be used, right?
Correct.
Okay, sir. Got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions on this? Now you must practice payments in this way, the way that we are doing now. In the similar way, you need to practice multiple entries. It's not that you pass one invoice and then you clear one invoice in the normal way. That is not going to help us when you're in a project. Because when you're in a project, you will be working on different reports wherein you need to give different logics. To provide the different logics, you need to understand how data is updated in your tables and what kind of entries are reflecting in what way in the table. When you will get the transaction data in BSID table, when you will get the transaction data in BSAD table, and how you will find the information related to partial payments properly. All this information you must know. If you know all these points, you can upfront tell in your interview that you worked on these kind of areas, you got these kind of support tickets. Everybody will accept if you tell these kind of support tickets, because they have something to put a cross question to you. Why user posted like this, from which table you referred, what is that report that you were checking in, why not standard reports, why are you referring to a Z report. You can tell that standard report will not give you the breakup of partial payments in a systematic manner. Tell that your client had a specific format to identify the payment history, because in your client there are more partial payments. Customers will majoritarily make partial payments, so they wanted to have a separate report for partial payment, which was already developed during the initial time or during the implementation time. Or you can tell you were working on that report based on your convenience, based on your confidence. And if they tell how did that report work, what was the logic used, which tables you referred to, all this, then you need to talk about all this BSAD table, BSID table, clearing and all. Okay. Any confusions, any doubts on this?
No, sir.
Clear, right? Okay, if there are no doubts, in the next session from tomorrow onwards, we will be starting automatic payment program. Whatever we have done, all the payment related scenarios, we will execute the simple basic version of automatic payments from tomorrow onwards. First, we need to make sure you understand the functionality of automatic payment and you are able to pass different kind of payments using APP. Once we are clear with the automatic payment program, then we will go to the outputs, like how your checks are prepared, how your bank transfer information is prepared using DME and using the other customized approach for the payment related information. But for that, you need to be very clear with manual payment processing before you step into automatic payment. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
All
have
right.
we covered down payment?
Down payment I'll be showing tomorrow only.
Okay, sir.
At a time I'll show down payment, normal processing, down payment in automatic payment.
Okay, sir. Good.
Yeah.
Sir, what about that business place and the section code?
Business place and section code.
While entering the entry, we find one item called business place and section code while invoice posting.
That is used for your withholding tax. If you are using withholding tax, you will be updating business place and section code for only TDS related invoices.
So when the TDS part come, it will be get covered, no, sir? That part.
Yes, yes. Because you have different sections based on which you are going to deduct the TDS. And when you are posting an invoice, the invoice is subject to withholding tax. Based on what section code at which business place you are deducting this TDS, you will have to track. That during the withholding tax TDS topic, I'll explain those points. On what basis we will determine business places and section codes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.